Nobody's happier in this room tonight than me, I can tell you that. And it almost didn't happen. I almost quit running before I really started. As you noticed from the video, when I was 13 years old, I had this crazy idea to run a marathon. And I had only run one race before that, and that was the weekend before. And for you old-timers in the room, you might remember the Macintosh Sports Cottage little fun runs, yeah? And so Bjorg remembers that. So yeah, that's where I started the week before, and John McIntosh, who someday will hopefully be in this Hall of Fame, he was touting next week's marathon. And I think I was on a high from that first little 6-mile run I did, and I said to my dad, man, I want to try that, Dad. And I knew really nothing about running at the time, only that I loved it, my first race, and I got this great T-shirt. You know, they give T-shirts at races. It was pretty cool. So there was going to be a workout the next morning over at Lamb Park, a last training run for people that were interested. And I'm totally going off script here, but hey, Bjorg, she had a story, so I can tell a story too. So I had my dad drop me off, and I met some amazing people that morning on a Sunday morning. One of them's right here in the room, Webb Chadwick. He's part of my entourage. And we proceeded to run 18 miles. And the idea was if I felt okay after that 18, and this was like at least maybe 12 miles more than I've ever run before. So we get done with the run. My dad picks me up, and I said I felt pretty good. So we ended up entering the race. And I'll tell you, talk about learning respect for the distance at an early age. Yeah, it was definitely a tough day. And I did pretty much everything wrong, right? You heard my mom made me a bacon and eggs breakfast because she said I needed plenty of energy. I was going to run a long way. That was about an hour before the race, okay? I was wearing a brand new pair of shoes. I had cotton socks. No. I don't know if they had microfiber socks back then, so maybe we all had cotton socks. This was 1977. And I didn't drink the whole way because I thought drinking would give me a cramp. So, but I do remember my dad out on the race course, and he had one of those old 8-track video cameras, and he was trying to meet me different parts along the course to get the video, you know, for history's sake. And around 20 miles, people from the crowd and people I was running with, they were saying, man, you can break 3 hours. This little guy is running 3-hour pace. And I had no idea what that meant. I didn't know that was like a barrier, like some standard that if you ran 3 hours, it's considered a really good runner. And then my dad, who wasn't a runner at the time, started hearing that too. So he said, Richard, you could break 3 hours. And he just said it because everybody else was saying it. I had no idea what it meant. And I didn't know what it meant. And so I ended up finishing. And it's so funny when you see that picture at the finish line because it's totally different than finish lines now. There's a little pennant flagging, some chalk on the ground. There's a guy with a clipboard and a guy with a stopwatch. And that was the timing company back then. A little different now. But I ended up, unfortunately, not breaking 3. I ran 3:01. But more unfortunately, I had the worst headache ever. And I vowed then that I was never going to run another race, you know, let alone, you know, a marathon, no way, right after the race. And I woke up the next morning, and guess what? I was looking for my next marathon. It's amazing what 24 hours can do, and I know you guys can relate to that. I went, and 2 days later, I was on a flag football team, and I had to wear my marathon shirt, because back then, you didn't get a shirt before the race. You got it for finishing the race. And some of you, Webb, you probably remember, on the back of that shirt, it was the first annual Sacramento Marathon shirt. It said, I made it, Sacramento Marathon, 26.2 miles, and that was super cool. So I had to impress my buddies who I was playing flag football with, and this was 2 days after the race, so I wore it to flag football practice. Of course, someone's trying to grab my flag, and guess what happens? My shirt rips. I was so bummed. I got home, and I was kind of crying. I said, Mom, I shouldn't have worn that shirt. I shouldn't have tried to show off to my friends. And my loving mom, she sewed it up for me. But anyway, that's my little story to get started. And, you know, 40 years later, here we are. And after hundreds of races as a participant, a competitor, a coach, a race director, volunteer, timer. Yeah, it's been an amazing ride, and I think that's why this award means so much to me, because I mean, the Sacramento running community has really been my second family for 40 years, and running, the sport of running, has been my best friend. I think you guys kind of know the feeling. I could have the worst day ever, but if I get in a run, it's a little bit better. If I'm lonely, I live in East Sac, all I have to do is run up to the Parkway, our beautiful American River Parkway, and I'll see somebody I know every time. Sometimes, and this sounds kind of crazy, but I could be thinking about going for a run, and it's almost as good as going on a run. I know, it's crazy. So years ago, one of my coaches gave me some unsolicited advice, and he said, Rich, he said, don't make running your life, just make it an important part of your life. I think at the time he probably thought I was overtraining, I was being compulsive, and he thought that was what I needed to hear. But now I look back, and over the last 40 years, and running really has been my life. And tonight, I mean, this award and being in front of you, it just really validates everything I've done in the community. So I can't believe I'm going into the hall. This is, you know, just, it's real emotional for me because of the people that are in the hall. Guys like Tim Tweetmeyer, Ray Clark, John Mansour, Heike, Patty Gray, Harold Kufal, and one of my favorite people ever, one of my mentors, Sally Edwards. These people I have admired for so many years, and now, you know, I'm with them in this SRA Hall of Fame. One of the most distinguished members of the hall is a guy named Billy Mills, and I think he's probably the only gold medalist, right, in the Hall of Fame, as far as I know. But I've always looked up to him. He's kind of been a hero. He won the 1964 gold medal in the 10,000 meters in Tokyo. That was the year I was born, 1964. And for those of you that haven't seen that video of that race, probably the greatest race of all time. So I would suggest you YouTube it. I've shown it to my son just to get him motivated for different things, because it is freaking inspirational. But I only bring Billy up because I have a framed photograph in my workout room at home, and it hangs right next to my treadmill. And I've been doing a little more treadmill running than usual because, Tamara, all the rain. And so I look at that, and the photograph is incredibly inspirational because it's him coming, breaking the tape, and if you know the story, he was like in 4th place, the last 200 meters, he made this incredible kick and won the race. But the picture is incredible, but the quote on that picture to me is even more meaningful. And it's, Billy says, every passion has its destiny. And every passion has its destiny. And it just, I love that quote, and tonight it has even more meaning to me because of what's going on tonight. So I wanted to mention that. I have so many people to thank for being up here. As a kid, I used to get rides to races and train with Glenn Bailey and Webb Chadwick and Howard Jacobson. Thank you for coming tonight, guys. I love you guys. My dad and mom. My dad's here. Thanks for, you know, teaching me the value of hard work and the support and not saying no when I beg you to run that first marathon back in 1977. I'd also like to thank Don Spickelmeyer. He's not here tonight, but he was an incredible member of the Buffalo Chip running club way back when. And he stopped me on J Street on one of my first runs where I actually left. I used to not be able to leave the block. My parents said, you can do loops, but you know, you're too young to leave. So I was running on J Street, and I was running in my Stan Smith tennis shoes with knee-high socks, and I ran into this guy, and he says, you know they do make running shoes, and you don't have to wear those knee-high socks. And so thank you, Don, for giving me that advice. I also want to thank my coaches. I had some great coaches as a youngster, Coach Roy Jones at Sutter Middle School, and Coach Joe Silva at Sacramento High School. Coach Silva was actually a long jumper in college. He wasn't a distance runner, but he was one of my best coaches ever. He actually beat Bob Beeman in a dual meet in long jump. I thought that was pretty cool, yeah. I also want to thank two of my best buddies who are here tonight, Tony Malewski and Jeff Hildebrandt, sitting right over here. Yeah, you guys could give them a hand. They deserve it. I've done so many awesome workouts with these guys and have coached with them, and just have so many great memories with you guys, so thanks so much. I love you guys. I also want to thank my buddy Bill Thomas, who's also here tonight, who's always taken an interest in my life and my family, and it means a great deal to me, so thank you, Bill. And how could I forget my brother, best brother ever. He crewed for me in many ultras, and I'm still sorry about AR-50 and 95, Doug. Sorry about that. Inside joke. I also want to thank all the race directors and staff people and volunteers that have worked all the races that I've participated in over the last 40 years. Those are the real unsung heroes of our sport. They don't get the credit they deserve, and it's easy to run the races, not so easy to organize the races, so thanks to all of you. And I want to thank all the people I've coached over the years through the Team and Training Program, Leukemia Society, Harry Tortuga. I just have so many incredible memories throughout the years. I'd also like to thank SRA, obviously, Fleet Feet Sports, Dusty and the folks over there, Kim and Chad, and also Julie Fingar, NorCal Ultras, Louie and Sherry. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And all the nonprofit entities, you notice Run to Feed the Hungry. That race has an incredibly special place in my heart. Sacramento Food Bank owns the race, and I help with that and help since 1996. And it's truly just a blessing to be involved with that organization. They do so much great work in town, helping the less fortunate. So Kelly Siefkin, thank you, and Blake so much for letting me and Capital Road Race be a part of that. We love working with you. And of course, now I get a little emotional because we've built Capital Road Race, our company, since 1999, to help all these nonprofits. And really, the company started to really flourish when I hired Kelly Haynes. Yes, she deserves a big round of applause. She likes to call herself the head zookeeper, and I don't know if I should be kind of insulted by that, or what, but it's an affectionate term. But Kelly, thanks for all you do for me and the company. You're incredible. Now that we have a Hall of Famer in the office, do you think we could raise our prices a little bit, on the races, maybe a little bit? Dennis Mooey's here and Chris Mason. They're two of my stalwarts with the company, so thanks for coming tonight, you guys. I really appreciate all you do for our company. I'd like to thank Five Star Bank and Buzz Oates for doing what they do for the running community. Mike Rizzo's here tonight, so thank you, Mike. And last but not least, and this is the most important, I'd like to thank my wife, Susie, and my son, Cole, because they say, don't let your babies become cowboys. Well, I got advice, don't let your babies become race directors, because it's a different world. They don't see me on Saturday and Sundays, probably in the mornings, probably 45 weekends out of the year, because I'm always working. So thanks for your understanding and putting up with my crazy schedule. I love you guys so much. And in closing, I would like to congratulate all the Hall of Famers tonight. Marie Mulder, I had no idea who you were, and I'm just like, you're amazing. So yeah, and obviously I when I was a kid, I'd run with Bjorg, so I knew Bjorg and how crazy she was, and it's always good to see you. I haven't seen you in such a long time, and kind of a 6 degrees of separation. My wife Susie actually ran for Will. She was one of Will's, I like to say, prized athletes. My wife was a really fantastic runner back in the day in the late 70s. So Susie Martinez back then, Susie Hanna now. So yeah, so it's pretty crazy. Lastly, Sacramento Running Association, I just want to thank you guys for all you do to make running so special for all of us runners in town. This has to be the best running community in the country. And I like to think we have something to do with it. Fleet Feet, SRA. It's such an honor to be a runner in this town. And I thank you guys so much for what you do and obviously for the award tonight. And one more thank you goes to Ellen Moore, who put on this incredible night tonight. I know it's a ton of work to do this, and she's been amazing to work with, not just on this, but over the years. So, Ellen, thank you so much. And that's it. That's all I have. Thank you, guys. And maybe it's too much. I was going to bring a digital clock so I'd stay under my allotted 5 minutes, but I left it at home. So anyway, I hope you guys are having a good time and enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you so much.